Hey guys, Brad from RotoHeat. I'm here with our Joe Burrow evaluation. Before we get into it, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new content from the RotoHeat team. Also, make sure you comment on here and let us know who you want to see next. Burrow had an interesting college career. He was recruited to Ohio State, and after a few years, he just couldn't seem to beat out guys like Dwayne Haskins, JT Barrett, and wound up transferring to LSU, and that's really where his career took off. He didn't get a ton of action the first couple of years at Ohio State, and as soon as he got to LSU, 2018 wasn't great, and obviously we just saw what happened in 2019. He destroyed the college world, beating arguably one of the best defenses in college to win the national title, Heisman, numerous LSU passing records. I mean, the list goes on and on. He had a great year. He had a 68.5% completion percentage. He was in his career at LSU, 621 out of 906 for 8,565 yards, 76 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. He also added some rushing, 243 carries for 768 yards and 12 touchdowns. That's 3.2 yards per carry. It was successful. He had a good college career, even though it was one elite year, one decent growing starter year. He's growing at LSU. So 2018 is a little bit of a wash. He was growing with some of the young talent, Chase and some of those guys. And you saw it all come together this year, and it was big. So, arguably, what's going to be the number one overall pick, a Heisman winner. I mean, he's got a great college career and projects well into the NFL. For athletic ability, we gave him a 7.6 out of 10. It says it all. When you look at the rushing stats in his college career, he had over 300 yards each season of the two seasons. Obviously that doesn't put him in, Kyler Murray territory. But when he needed to get out of the pocket, when he needed to move around, he did. And you saw it, time and time again where he would move around, extend the play. He had just enough speed and just enough wiggle to his game that, he'd get away and get out of the pocket and get away from defenders and get around so that he could extend the play and give his receivers and running backs and tight ends opportunities to get out so that he could get them the ball. And that's going to be huge, especially if he does get drafted by, anyone in the top five and probably the top team, which could be the Bengals. He's going to need to be able to move around. They've got a growing young offensive line with some young offensive linemen, but he's going to need to be able to get away from pressure. And, and you have to get away from pressure in everywhere in the NFL. There's always going to be pressure. But we like the athletic profile that he brings. At 6'4" and 216 pounds. He moves well for a taller quarterback, and he doesn't look stiff. He's not truly just a pocket passer. For toughness, we gave him an 8.2 out of 10. This is an area we thought he excelled in. He was sacked 69 times in 2 seasons at LSU. He was willing to take a hit. He was not afraid of the contact. And he played through adversity throughout both seasons, and we really like what that shows, especially to scouts in this draft process. They're going to see a kid that hard-nosed kid, a kid that isn't afraid of contact and will stand in the pocket and throw under duress. And obviously with the athletic profile, he has the toughness to move around, take a hit when he's on the run. Obviously you don't want your quarterback taking too many of those, but he's a tough kid, and we think that'll be one of the many traits that teams love about him as they evaluate him. For pocket presence, this was by far the strongest trait that our team saw. We gave him an 8.9 out of 10. The thing that we loved about him is that he never really seems overwhelmed. He stands in the pocket, keeps his composure well, seems to make the best of every situation. Obviously we saw some of his better throws on the run when he's kind of scrambling and trying to make some things happen. But he won the Heisman unanimously for a reason. There's a lot to like about his game, and there's a lot to like the kind of quarterback that he projects to be. He's a perfect QB1 in the NFL. Perfect QB1 for your fantasy team down the road. He definitely projects to that way. We saw him keep his eyes moving. He, looking off safeties and DBs and linebackers and coverage. always scanning, making proper progressions and reads. There's a lot of the things that you want to see in the pocket out of your quarterback. And, he checked all those boxes. That's why people expect him to be just another in the long line of number 1 overall pick quarterbacks. For arm strength, we gave him a 7.8 out of 10. Obviously one of the lower ratings for him, but, you're splitting hairs with the best quarterback in this draft class. Probably not elite arm strength, but better than average. I mean, you could say good arm strength. We watched it. Every film that we watched, you saw him making all the throws that he needed to make. He's got an NFL caliber arm. Is he like a Matthew Stafford where he's got a cannon? Well, probably not, but he's probably not far off. He's one of those guys that's kind of that next level below your elite type arms. So package that up with the rest of his profile, he's going to be just fine. He can do everything that a team would need to do, whether he's in the pocket or on the run. He's got the arm and the arm strength to make the throws and do it well. So it's not an area we're terribly concerned about. It just isn't one of the things that we're in love with him about. For accuracy, we gave him an 8.3 out of 10. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, the guy completed a ton of passes, especially in 2019. I mean, you saw where he was doing things. He was setting records at LSU and, completing nearly 70% of his passes, 68.5% of his passes. I mean, that's NFL caliber numbers. I mean, in the NFL, you're wanting closer to 70% completion percentage. I mean, you want those better completion rates. So, I think where he goes in the NFL in one of the top 5 spots, he's going to have some decent weapons. If he goes to a team like Cincinnati, for example, where you have guys like AJ Green and Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon on the backfield and some of those things, the Auden Tates and some of those bigger receivers that have those big wingspans. I mean, it's going to make it look pretty easy for him because he was really well at placing the ball where the receivers needed it, no matter where the play was at, no matter where the play was going. So we're excited about his accuracy. We think it'll go well and it translates well to the NFL. And it's one of the things that we like the most about him. This is actually the second highest rating of all of the different things that we looked at. So nothing to be concerned about here. Very accurate passer, and it's going to be good for him in the NFL. No surprise. Best quarterback in this draft class, in the 2020 draft class. For overall, we gave him an 8.2 out of 10. He's probably one of the better prospects coming out. He set college on fire this year with some elite numbers, some very big record-setting numbers, and we're excited about how that translates to the NFL, how his game translates to the NFL. There's a lot of teams that need that franchise quarterback right now, and he's it. I mean, everything about him you like. You like his composure. You like the way that he leads the huddle, the way his team rallies around him, the way the guys play for him. There's not a lot more to say about it. I mean, you saw it. Anybody who's watched, any of the big games, the college football, national championship, I mean, all that. I mean, you saw that elite player come out and what's not to love about him? If you're a fantasy owner and you're drafting early, in a 1 QB league, obviously he's not going to go nearly as early as something like a super flex where he's number 1 overall. If you're doing a rookie draft, and even probably after the draft, he's probably the number 1 overall super flex type option if you're a rookie draft. When it comes to startup, I mean, obviously that's gonna vary based on your type of league, but we're excited about Joe Burrow. He's got a lot of excitement around him. He projects well into the NFL, and and our team is very excited about what that looks like for your fantasy roster. He's a guy that you could have on your team for years and years to come, and you can build around him at quarterback. So there's not much more to say about it. 8.2 out of 10 speaks for itself. He's elite.
Also, right there, playlist. Hit it. Watch the videos. Do it. You want to. Do it.